Erin Chase from $5 Dinners and host of the Dinner Made Easy show here on the $5 Dinners Facebook page. I've got a 2-for-1 for you today. It's the same recipe, 2 different cooking methods we're going to talk about today. Both baking Swedish meatballs and cooking them in the skillet. I've got a little hack for you, so I want to share that with you. All right, the meatballs are in the oven. I'll tell you about them in a minute, but I've got this melting here. We are going to make the creamy sauce for this, and it is a homemade creamy sauce. I'm totally blanking on words this afternoon, y'all. Sorry. So let's just get started making this. All right. So this is 2 tablespoons of butter, 1/4 cup of flour, and we're going to whisk this into a paste. If you've never made a sauce in a skillet like this before, do not fret. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So I'm totally not doing this right because I only have one hand. My tripod doesn't work very well. I prefer to whisk and pour in the liquid at the same time to keep from clumping, but this will work. So now we have a thicker. This is 2 tablespoons of butter, 1/4 cup of flour, and this will be 2 cups of beef broth. And again, pour and whisk at the same time is my recommendation, but since I'm holding the phone with one hand and whisking with the other, I can't. I need a 3rd arm. Okay, see that clumped a little. That's okay. I'll break them up here in a minute. And then what we're going to do is let that thicken. You know, I cooled it down with the cooler beef broth, but it'll warm up pretty quickly. It's amazing. Okay, and then, so we're not in Sweden, right? And I couldn't find lingonberry. It's not, I'm sure you can find it in the States. I know you can, actually. I don't have a specialty grocery store that's super close to me, nor did I want to spend extra money. So instead I got that. That's what we're going to use to give it that like sort of fruity, tarty, sweetie flavor. Can that be a thing? We're going to use raspberry preserves instead of lingonberry. So that's what we're doing. All right, this has got to take a minute to thicken up. While this thickens up, we do have 2 more things to add. Sour cream to make it creamy. Raspberries to give it that sort of Swedish lingonberry flavor. So you can see it's starting to bubble. It does not take long, you can see, and it will thicken dramatically. We want a nice thick sauce for this one. All right, let's talk about the meatballs for a minute. I've had them in the oven for a little bit. I am baking these, and I'm going to tell you what's in them in a second, and of course I will drop the full recipe here on the video. You 100% could make these in the skillet as well. And how I would do that would be I would make the meatballs, put a little canola or olive oil in there, and then brown all sides of the meatballs. They don't necessarily need to cook all the way through in the browning of the meatballs. Take them out, put them onto a plate, maybe with paper towel just to soak up any grease. Then any of the grease that's left over in the bottom of the skillet, you can then make this same sauce right here in the same skillet, and you'll get that extra bit of flavor coming out of the Italian sausage and the allspice and the nutmeg and the ground beef, all of those flavors that were in the meatballs that you sauteed in the skillet. Once you saute them in here, remove them, make the sauce, put the meatballs back into the creamy sauce after it's completely made. Then let them finish cooking in the sauce. That would be an alternative way to make that. That's a little bit more, I would say, an advanced cooking strategy or method. If you've never done that before and it kind of intimidates you, I would highly recommend baking them. That's the way that I originally wrote this recipe, just because it's a bit easier to do it that way. You bake them, you don't have to worry about cooking them through, you don't have to worry about the sauce drying out, yada yada. This is a cup of sour cream. It's going right in. So you can see how these Swedish meatballs, as soon as they're done baking, I'm just going to nestle them in here, all cozy together in this skillet, and let them cook in the sauce for just a few minutes, and we're good to go. They should be ready out of the oven here in a minute. I'm hoping, if the video gets to be too long, I will stop it, but I'm hoping to get to show you that here at the very end. All right, so these guys, oh yum. in a minute are going to get to hang out in this sauce we're making. But before they do that, I want to stir in this raspberry preserves. All right, we're going to just do a couple spoonfuls, couple tablespoons full, however raspberry you want it to be. Again, that's just raspberry preserves. If you can find the lingonberry near you for not too expensive, doesn't that just look amazing? Sorry, was I filming my feet? Ah. Oh, this is going to be amazing. It doesn't take a lot. That raspberry flavor is super deep and it will go a long way. I'm going to think that these are about finished. So, my oven mitts are not here. They're not where they're supposed to be. All right, let's review this recipe over here. All right, these are a pound of Italian pork sausage, a pound of ground beef, 2 eggs, a half a cup of breadcrumbs, a tablespoon of minced onion, a half a teaspoon of ground allspice, and a half a teaspoon of ground nutmeg. Allspice plus nutmeg plus the raspberry in the sauce equals flavor explosion. You're going to love it. All right. So, we're just going to take these guys and nestle them in the sauce and let them simmer together for a couple minutes until they're 100% cooked through. I have not checked, but I'm actually thinking these are cooked through. Hello, welcome to your sauce. Doesn't that look amazing? You could serve this with salad, pasta, whatever you prefer. If you want this sauce over here to be thicker, all you have to do is add a little bit more flour. If you want it to be thinner, add a little bit of either milk or, in this case, we use beef broth. So you can totally control the thickness of this sauce either by adding more thickener, which would be flour. You could do cornstarch, but you won't need much if you did cornstarch. Or by adding more liquid to make it thinner. I will put the directions for if you were making this baked meatballs and then adding it to the skillet. And then adding the meatballs to the sauce in the skillet. You could, as I mentioned earlier, absolutely do the meatballs in the skillet. Let the pan juices and the pan drippings from the meatballs, which will be packed full of flavor. You could then use that almost as the base to the skillet, the homemade creamy beef broth raspberry preserve sauce that we made. You could use that for the base of it as well. Okay, with that, I'm going to say good afternoon. I hope you enjoy these baked Swedish meatballs. Let me know if you try them. I want to hear what you think about them, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your Wednesday. We'll be back again next Wednesday with another delicious recipe here on the Dinner Made Easy show.